Welcome to the AFR Saints channel, where we provide you daily content on your favorite team, the New Orleans Saints. Do us a favor and hit that subscribe button. Be sure to leave your comments below and smash that like button. Who dat? We will begin with what is the biggest story in the sports world today, and that is the GOAT putting himself out to pasture. Here's how it sounded.
Good morning, guys. I'll get to the point right away. I'm retiring for good. I know the process was a pretty big deal last time, so when I woke up this morning, I figured I'd just press record and let you guys know first. So I won't be long-winded. I think you only get one super emotional retirement essay, and I used mine up last year. So really thank you guys so much, to every single one of you, for supporting me, my family, my friends, my teammates, my competitors. I could go on forever. There's too many. Thank you guys for allowing me to live my absolute dream. I wouldn't change a thing. Love you all.
All right, so Tom Brady, do we believe him this time? Let's go around the room. Do you believe him this time? Is Tom Brady done?
I do believe him this time.
Paulie, do you believe that Tom Brady is done?
I believe he's done.
All right, let's make that the poll question. I do as well. I think Tom Brady is actually done this time because I think he would have been done a year ago, quite honestly, but for the fact that Adam Schefter jumped the gun. Schefter got the story. He broke it. I think Tom Brady then sort of felt like he didn't get to do it on his own terms. He was retired for 40 days. And then came back. He still had the itch, so he scratched it. And now, after the abysmal season that they just had, where there was so much turnover, it was a gigantic struggle. Their offense wasn't any good, and they're nowhere close to winning a championship. And now his family, he's divorced, as we all know, and I don't purport to have any insight whatsoever there. And I know a lot of people say he chose his football over his family. I think you respect people's family boundaries, and who knows what is going on. Even if you're Tom Brady and Gisele Bündchen, and where you live publicly in a glass house, you never really know what's going on behind closed doors. So Brady gets to this point. I agree. I think this is the last we will have seen of Tom Brady. And another part of that too is because he has his safety net. He's got a 10-year, $375 million contract as the lead analyst on Fox. And he can begin working that immediately. So, yeah, I do believe while Tom Brady is done with football on the field, he's certainly not done with football for good. But I do think this is the last that we will have seen. Ian Rappaport was on Good Morning Football shortly after Tom Brady made the announcement. And here's what Rappaport had to say about the factor, how much family weighed into this decision for Tom Brady.
The family considerations loom large here. His children moving to Florida. I know Brady wants to be around them, wants to spend a lot of time with them. If he was going to go be the quarterback of the Tennessee Titans or anyone really besides the Bucs or the Dolphins, spending regular time with his children would have been difficult. And I know where he is right now, that is paramount to Brady. So he walks away. He retires at age 45, just kind of like he always planned, but maybe not in the exact way that he always planned. And now the Bucs need a new quarterback. And now all those teams I mentioned still need a quarterback. Tom Brady, the greatest of all time, walks away. And for the first time in decades, he's not going to be on the field this year.
But he will be in the booth. Tom Brady will be now the lead analyst for Fox Sports. Of course, Kevin Burkhardt and Greg Olsen have been the lead booth on Fox this year, with Joe Buck and Troy Aikman going to ESPN for Monday Night Football. And Greg Olsen stepped into that role knowing full well that when Tom Brady retired, he was going to lose his job because Tom Brady was going to immediately become the lead analyst for Fox, which we all anticipate will happen for this coming football season. So Greg Olsen was a guest on the SI Media podcast and was asked about losing his job.
It is what it is, right? I mean, I get it. And would I have loved to get the job for the next 10 years? Of course. But do I understand that when you have a chance to do something with Tom Brady, you have to at least pursue it and take a shot at it? Of course. I get it. I told the team at Fox when, we talked all this out and they were super transparent and upfront. They were great. I said, you know what, guys, here's my goal. I hope next year after the Super Bowl, I hope the conversations internally, I said this in jest, right? I said, I hope that it's like, damn, I can't believe we have to replace Olsen. I said, and if I do that, you replace me, I go back down to my old team, great. Tom Brady becomes the A crew. I get it. It sucks, but I get it. And it's not going to take away from how I prepare. It's not going to take away from how I try to do my job. And I'll go try to do a great job next year and make it even harder on you guys.
Pretty awesome approach there by Greg Olsen, who's done a good job, right? Who has done a good job as a lead analyst at Fox, but I think that's the best perspective that you could possibly have there. I think look, there's everyone across the world today, quite literally, is going to be talking about Tom Brady. And there are going to be people with far more intimate relationships with Tom Brady that could be able to cover this better than I, and I can play a lot of reaction for you coming in from former teammates and analysts and coaches and all that sort of stuff. Tom Brady's legacy is what it is. He's the greatest ever to play football. He won 7 championships. He won 5 Super Bowl MVPs. He won 3 regular season MVPs. He's the all-time passing yardage and passing touchdown leader, records that may never be approached. I saw today that if Patrick Mahomes would have to average 300 yards per game over the next dozen years to break Tom Brady's record. Average 300 a game over the next 12 years to break Tom Brady's passing yardage record. Puts into perspective how incredible he is, how incredible his career was, and I don't know that we'll ever see it again. A guy that wins 7 Super Bowls and plays in 10 of them. But hat tip to the GOAT for the second year in a row. I don't know that I'm going to spend too much time on Tom Brady in particular because it feels like we did that a year ago. But because Tom Brady does leave a vacancy in the NFC South, it's worth talking about here. Because if you actually look ahead at what is likely to happen in the NFC South, let's say, hypothetically, the Saints re-sign Andy Dalton and draft a quarterback. I'm pulling for Hendon Hooker. I think we talked about that yesterday. You are in no way elite at that position. Atlanta very likely rides with Desmond Ridder next year, whom they drafted out of Cincinnati this year. Carolina very likely has Sam Darnold back and drafts a quarterback. And Tampa very likely has Blaine Gabbert back and drafts a quarterback. So at the start of the regular season, the most likely scenario for the NFC South is your starting quarterbacks in this division are Desmond Ridder, Sam Darnold, Andy Dalton, and Blaine Gabbert. That might be the worst quarterback division ever. Because even in some miserable divisions over the course of time, you'll usually have one guy. Like, do you remember the year Carolina went to the playoffs? I believe it was 2014. And they were 7-8-1. They won the South at 7-8-1. You still had Cam Newton, Matt Ryan, Drew Brees. You had a lot of great quarterbacks. You didn't play a lot of defense. The division wasn't very good, but you had great quarterbacks. There have been those moments throughout history where you've had bad divisions, but I don't know that you could ever point to a time where the quarterback play, the roster of quarterbacks week 1 is going to be as bad as it's likely to be in the NFC South. But what it also means is 3 of the 4 teams in the division are likely drafting quarterbacks. Atlanta drafted Desmond Ridder last year. We'll see if they ride with him. But Tampa, Carolina, and the Saints all are very likely to be drafting quarterbacks. And not just you take a flyer on a guy on day 3 of the draft because you have a good grade on him and you bring him in to see if it sticks, like San Francisco did with Brock Purdy. They took a flyer on the guy. They had Jimmy G. They had Trey Lance. They took a flyer on Brock Purdy. Sometimes you do that. I'm talking about 3 out of 4 teams in your division are trying to draft their franchise this year. And that's going to make for a bumpy ride because history shows they ain't all going to hit. So who ends up under center in this division is going to be fascinating. But the Bucs were going to be the odds-on favorite because of 12, because of Tom. I mean, he was the differentiator. He's gone. It's wide open. It's Katie bar the door. Like all of a sudden, if you're a Saints fan today, you can legitimately look at this division and go, yeah, we could win it. Don't get me wrong. Saints got problems, and we've talked about them a lot. Y'all know how I feel. But this division is going to be atrocious next year. Somebody's got to win it. Might be the Saints. I don't know if that's a great thing. As odd as that's going to sound, I don't know if that's a great thing, because that may only perpetuate the issues that are now plaguing this franchise because they can see a path to win this division. What an interesting offseason. It was already going to be fascinating. And it just got thrown another layer of intrigue with Tom Brady announcing his retirement. Hey, thanks so much for watching. Please leave your comments. I love to interact. And be sure to hit the red subscribe button below.